Hello, my name's Henry Krause and I'm the ministry leader for Mennonite Church British Columbia's Engaging God's World program. Welcome to our backyard. You can see there's fields that are soon going to be full of berries, so if you ever need a bit of a snack, come on down. Depending if I like you or not, I might offer you a berry or two. Engaging God's World ministry is comprised of a number of task groups that are working on our behalf. I'm focusing on the Indigenous Relations Task Group work and the challenge that we as individuals, as churches, and as Mennonite Church BC as a whole are facing in the ongoing work of reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action urge us as followers of Jesus to walk in a spirit of humility and love.
Reconciliation is hard work, and it begins by being honest and looking at our own history and ways in which we have not lived fully into the calling that we have received as Jesus' people and have been blind to some of our own shortcomings, recognizing how we too have participated in a mindset of colonization.
Reconciliation is at the center of our Christian vocation, captured by Jesus as love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second is this: love your neighbor as yourself. There is no commandment greater than these. Mark 12:20-31.
Jesus cuts across the barriers of class, culture, sex, and status to demonstrate God's inclusive love for all of creation. He possesses a thoroughly decolonized mind. For Christians to purposefully and effectively love our neighbors as ourselves requires decolonizing our minds in response to our love for God.
We invite you to join us on this journey of reconciliation by opening ourselves up to the Spirit who gives us hope and strength in this journey. The Indigenous Relations Task Group considers the following 10 statements as a helpful start to decolonize our minds, consistent with Jesus' directive to love our neighbor.
Acknowledge that Mennonites were willing participants in the Canadian colonial project that displaced Indigenous communities. Acknowledge that the colonial project continues today.
Recognize that Mennonite progress and prosperity is largely a product of privileges negotiated with the colonial powers, combined with a measure of resilience, community solidarity, and hard work.
Repent for our colonized minds by pivoting our privilege and resources towards intentional acts of conciliation with our Indigenous neighbours.
Build on the resolutions adopted by Mennonite Church Canada delegate bodies, attempting to chart a path for conciliation with Indigenous peoples.
Respect and gratefully acknowledge that Mennonites live on the unceded, traditional, and ancestral lands of Indigenous nations. Applaud Indigenous revitalization of languages, cultures, and spiritualities that strengthen Indigenous identity and the realization of self-determination.
Listen to the Indigenous voices calling for dignity and justice as a precondition for conciliation between equals.
Support Indigenous efforts to assert their rights enshrined in treaties or in defense of sovereignty over unceded traditional territories.
Recognize that Indigenous peoples are of the land and have an intimate relationship to the land, guiding their efforts to preserve its biodiversity.
Resist colonial assumptions of presumptive sovereignty to control the conditions for conciliation through legislative procedures.
The task group believes that the question of who's our neighbor finds resolution in the expression of our love for God and for Jesus, who incarnated a life of decolonized mind. Thank you all, and blessings to you.